Let me get into today's video on studio talks. Okay, have you ever wanted to start a studio on your own? You're young, you're inexperienced, you have no money, and you really wanted to start your own studio, and you wanted to make music either for a professionally where you charge clients or you charge people to record anything, or you just want to make music yourself and you want to just make it sound good and radio, whatever, for yourself, whatever, it doesn't matter, as a hobby, cool. You never really had the knowledge to know what exactly you had to do or what you had to get, and you end up spending like a lot of money on things that you really don't need. Well, I'm gonna tell you something over here, especially now. I'm gonna focus on for the things that you would need, and I'll slowly build on until you can get yourself a full studio. So today I'm gonna talk about something that's very important of this for your studio. That's something that does most of the work, I would say, and you'll probably be using 100% of the time. I'm gonna talk about microphones and what kind of microphones you should get in this modern day studio. So I understand that, okay, look, before we get anywhere, just understand there are three main types of microphones. We have dynamic microphones, we have condenser microphones, and we have ribbon microphones. And I can bet my left testicle that you're gonna be using these two microphones that I mentioned earlier the most, dynamic and condenser. Ribbon microphones, we don't really see so much of them nowadays. They're really expensive as well. So I'm gonna start off right now with a microphone that everybody has seen, like especially if you do live stuff from church or whatever. Because most artists, musicians have used this dynamic microphone. Now, what is a dynamic microphone? Let's first start over there. Very good question, fellow YouTuber on internet land. Well, a dynamic microphone, why they got its name is because it's a microphone that uses a magnetic coil inside the microphone to generate a voltage inside. Really nice about this, it's very robust. You can drop it, you can throw it, whatever, and it's not as sensitive as your condenser microphone. Why this is such a nice microphone is because you can use it for things that are very loud, basically like for your drum hits, from your, especially drums, for vocals or anything. You can use this on stage for your lead singers or whatever, because it's not as sensitive, it won't pick up as much around you. And what's really nice about this is because of the polar patterns, which I'm gonna get more detail later, is that where you hold your microphone and stuff, it really rejects signal or noise coming from. But again, this is for another video. Very good. The second microphone we're gonna jump on is your condenser microphones, this is the microphone you really see in the studio. Any studio video, anything you see guys popping up with these big ass condenser microphones where they in the booth headphones, you have the pop filters and the reverb filters, and then they record them. Now they get their name because they have a capacitor built inside there. Now if you did a little bit of electricity or a bit of like in your life, you know what happens when two capacitors are close to each other. I'm not gonna get into too much definition on this, but yeah, so when you have two capacitors come close to each other, when they move or vibrate, they generate a voltage according to the distance they move. You do N1, N2 electrical courses, you find all about that. Now if we take that to our advantage, we use that in our microphones, and because of that, it's very, very, very sensitive. That's why they're so perfect for studio work inside, for vocals, for guitars, or anything that you really want to get a nice crisp sound with. The top end is nicely round, the mids are round and everything. It's not too boomy, it's a perfect sound. But obviously all this is all subjective. They're all just tools in the end of the day, and depending on what you want to do at the end, that's what you get on. So, you know what I mean? You give a hammer to like a professional carpenter, or you give him a rock. If he knows what he's doing, he will nail that thing at the end of the day. So I spoke about this many times before, my other one and my other channel. Also, just look at my previous video that I've done this about 2 years ago. I'm gonna update it again about actually what you need in a home studio, where I could go more into detail with that. But the question is, which microphone should you use and which one is actually the best for you? I still say it depends on your budget. Condenser microphone is way more expensive than your dynamic microphone. This condenser, this puppy, this is the ProDype ST1 Lannon, and I got for 5,000 brand new, which was 5 years ago. My workhorse, so I use it for like everything. Even now in the studio, I use this like 99% of the time I'll use this bad boy for vocals and everything because I really like the sound. And then you have your dynamic microphones. And these dynamic microphones they're cheaper, first of all, than your condenser. And well, obviously the smaller, they're way less sensitive than your condenser. But remember, Michael Jackson recorded his album with dynamic microphones, which is insane. And if you've heard any song by Michael Jackson, they sound really good. But I'm not saying not every song. Google it yourself, you find the information, but he did some songs like that. But now, for you as a person, you just started, I highly recommend you getting a condenser microphone first. Because like I said, this is a workhorse, it gets around, you can do anything. And I'm talking about, you don't have to get like a 5,000 Rand, 10,000 Rand microphone right away off the bat. You can get yourself a 1,000 Rand microphone, 1,500 Rand microphone, like your Behringer C1 or your Samsung CO1s, which are very good microphones to start off with. I actually started off with a C1 and I eventually upgraded to the CO1 until I felt the need to get into ProDive because I really liked the reviews and everything of that microphone. But it's just something that I just warn everybody about is when you get into the realm of USB microphones. I'm not really a big fan of USB microphones. I have used a lot of like USB microphones before. I use them on my podcasts a lot, or like projects where they weren't too serious to me. I use USB microphones. And why I don't like USB microphones is simply because you're still using the computer's sound card inside the PC. Manufacturers use cheap digital audio converters inside their PCs. So I'm gonna get more of that into a later video. In conclusion, I would like to say is that you must, like I said, start off with something simple. Get yourself like a Behringer C1, Samsung CO1 microphone, and avoid anything that's USB in the beginning. If you have to go USB route, go there. But in my next video, I'm going to talk about more of the interface you use and where that actually comes together with your microphone so you can get a clear sound. But like I said, in conclusion, get yourself a microphone, get started and everything. And yeah, let's get this money. I'm with you forever, the Ultralord, your mother's favorite producer. I'll see you guys next week, Friday, or next week, Thursday, with a new video. And peace. Have a good one. Yeah.